SalesCrunch. Learn more, earn more.
Tactics, tricks, and threats. If you've been negotiating, even at a fundamental level, you will have experienced some tactics and some tricks and some threats. Most successful negotiators recognize the way that people are involved in negotiations behave, how they behave, doesn't always reflect their true feelings or intentions. And within my ebook, I've listed out all of the tactics and the tricks and the threats that I know. So rather than go into detail today on those, I'm going to need you to read them, understand them, learn them if you wish. What we do have to understand is that whether or not you choose to use these tactics, it's important that you realise, A, that tactics work, B, that they can be used on you and can be used by you, and C, once they're recognised as tactics, their effects are reduced or eliminated. Now, you may feel that there's no need, in your particular case, to negotiate or resort to tactics. But in negotiation, this is a matter of personal choice. I think it's something you have to accept and you have to be aware of, because you always have to be on your toes. In general, tactics are used to gain a short-term advantage during the negotiation, and they're designed to lower your expectations of reaching a successful conclusion. So again, I've listed them all out in the book, and I think you'll have fun. If not certainly it's fun, you'll have a learning experience having a read through them. You may even recognise scenarios that you've encountered in the past. Now, let's think about dealing with the closing stages, because I'm very mindful of the time that we're allowed for such a complex topic. I think that price is an issue in most negotiations, okay? That's the reality. I think we need to deal with the price issue confidently, but with an understanding of the needs of the other side. I think you need to be specific and state the exact price rather than, well, it will be about $50,000, for example. I think you need to maintain eye contact because it makes you look confident. I think you need to ensure that your tone of voice is confident and your body language also is confident and relaxed. That's what we call congruence. If your eyes tell the person that you're negotiating with that you're frightened to death, and yet your body language suggests that you're actually quite comfortable, we don't have congruence, we have incongruence, and it's very, very important. Always ensure your tone of voice is confident, and also that your body is relaxed and demonstrates confidence. Don't be frightened in silence. Once you've stated your price, stop talking and wait for the other side to speak. Give them time to think. Deal with price objections. Run towards them, head them off, and defend your price, but don't over-argue your case. Focus on price and benefit differences, and then begin the bargaining phase. Now, the closing stage of any negotiations, of course, are vital, and again, in the ebook, I've guided you through. I've given you ample notes on how to work through, and I want to give you, one final word of caution on the closing stages. The closing stages need to be approached with caution because it has been shown that the majority of concessions are given or traded in the last 5% of the time allocated for that negotiation. That means that if you negotiate for 1 hour, the last 3 minutes are when you're literally at your most vulnerable. So those are my closing thoughts. I think that negotiation is a complex topic. It's not, how can I put this? Negotiation skills are no longer advanced skills. Good negotiation skills are something that we all need to take on board very early in our careers. And if that's something that's been missing from our education, then we jolly well need to catch up. Because it's, as I said earlier, it's not an advanced skill anymore, it's a basic skill. And I think it's very important that you understand that. So in summary, we talked. In fact, the title of this presentation was some of the learning the secrets of the most skilled negotiators. Let me tell you something. The secret is that there is no secret. There are no secrets. Negotiation is something that can be learned, it can be practiced, it can be improved upon. If one person can be a brilliant negotiator, we all can. and it's something that we mustn't be frightened of. It's something that we need to open our arms and be prepared to embrace and get good at. The amount of dollars that we leave on the table in any typical negotiation, frankly, is quite frightening. And in order to maximize our efforts and maximize the profits for our company, we owe it to ourselves to negotiate every single cent. Just imagine all the deals that you've done in the last 12 months, okay? Add on an additional 5% gross margin for each of those deals, and then think about it. Get your calculator out and just work out how much more commission you will have earned. It will surprise you. Okay, good. Well, before I close finally, I'd like to take any or all of the questions you were sent in to Melissa and May.
Yeah,
Melissa.
Great. We have a couple of questions. The first one is, what would you say is the most common mistake inexperienced negotiators make?
Oh, well, that's a very good question, but it's easy for me to answer because it comes up in conversation quite often when I'm coaching sales teams. It is quite simply that inexperienced negotiators tend to rush the negotiation process. They're keen to get the deal done, signed and sealed, get back to the office, celebrate with their manager, and look forward to their commission check. Skilled negotiators, and I mentioned this earlier, take on average 20% longer in the negotiation process, and as a consequence, come out with much, much better deals. There's nothing to be gained by rushing negotiation, you know. And if we learn our skills and we get better, then we end up taking more time. It's simple as that.
Great.
Okay, any more?
Yes, our next question. This referred to when you were going through the different types of negotiation, and he asked, the consultative sale that you describe seems to require multiple meetings. And as a startup, how do we structure our line of questioning to determine what the customer needs are while setting up for the next meeting?
That's a long question, and the line between you and me isn't very, very clear, so I'm going to apologize to Bob, but would you mind repeating the question, Melissa, please?
Sure. It's referring to the consultative way of negotiating rather than, to get the win-win scenario. And he's saying it seems to require multiple meetings to develop this. And as a startup, how should we structure our questions to determine what the needs are while setting up for that next meeting?
Okay. Well, I think it's very, very important. I mean, we've got to be absolutely certain that we're not talking about an exploratory meeting, that we're actually talking about a negotiation.
Yes.
Negotiation meeting here, of course. That's the big difference. And I think what's important is that you plan the first set of information that you need. You know, a few moments ago, I was talking about rushing the negotiation. If you believe that this negotiation is of particular value to your company, and there's, for example, there's a lot of gross margin involved, there's profit if you wish, there's nothing wrong with taking 2 or 3 meetings. Better that than try and get it all out in one meeting and end up at a stalemate and having to walk away completely. So my answer is work out in advance the information that you need immediately. What is the most important information you need? Go into that meeting and aim to get that information out first. Then what we do is we say, okay, thanks, I've got all of that information. Based on that, I'm going to go away, think about everything that we've talked about today, and I'm going to come back with my next set of questions and possibly a proposal for you. And by doing that, I can assure you we are earning the respect of the people that we're negotiating with.
Great, Jonathan. Getting back to, you discussed the need to always try and work the win-win principle, and we'd like to know, is lose-lose ever acceptable?
It's a good question. You know, if you've got 1,000 salespeople in a room and you said to them, is lose-lose ever acceptable? I promise you, using Pareto's principle or 80-20, 80% of them put their hand up and go, no, It's not. It's not acceptable because I wouldn't earn any commissions. But that's not what it's about, is it? You know, we reach a point where we should not go beyond. You know, I discussed my fallback position. That's what I call it. If we go below that, we're not making a profit for the company. We're not making a profit for us. We walk away. We've lost the respect of the party that we're negotiating with. And what makes you think, you know, that if we go back in 3 or 4 months and negotiate another deal, they're not going to cut us all the way back to that first one. If that's what you did the first time round, that's what they'll always expect. It's my view that what we should do is, you know, again, never go below our fallback price. And when we do that, we earn respect. We walk away with our head high, and we say something very simply like, well, you know, I really did want to sort of reach a mutually acceptable outcome on this negotiation, but I can see that we're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately, on this particular occasion. But I'd like to keep the door open, and I'd like to keep communicating, and please make me aware of any future opportunities you may have. And I promise you, when you do that, you gain instant respect. And you may think, oh, God, I've lost this deal, you know, it's not what it's about. It's all about respect. You must value your company, you must value your products, your solutions, and you must value yourself. It's so important. Okay.
I think we've sort of wrapped up the rest of the questions. Unless anyone has any others, please enter. Oh, one more. A lot of information was presented. Where do we start first?
That's a great question. You know what I'm going to say? The beginning. Now, what I would ask you to do is there's another one coming in.
Yep.
What I would ask you to do is to download the ebook and work through it from the beginning to the end. Okay. And then what I'm also prepared to do, and I can't put this on the screen, but I'm also prepared, if you have specific questions about negotiation, okay, just email me. I'm going to give you an email address now. It is very simply JF, all right, so that's my initials, J for Jonathan, F for Farrington, JF at jonathanfarrington.com, and I'll be more than happy to give you any additional guidance that you need.
Okay,
what was that last question that came
yes,
up?
that last one is a good one. It says, when one raises prices in the negotiation, how is it best to negotiate to create that win-win situation?
Does that mean, does you mean when you raise the topic of price?
I think increase the price.
Okay, so you're going in and you're increase, yes.
Yes.
I can see you on my screen. Thank you very much. So it's a meeting in order to advise your clients that you're having to raise your prices.
Yes.
That's always a very, very difficult. That's always a very difficult meeting to handle. But you know, there is only one way to handle it, and that's going head on. The reality is that today everyone accepts that the cost of raw material, the cost of services, the cost of transportation are increasing daily almost. And, you know, we can soak up, as organisations, we can only soak up so many price increases for so long of our raw materials or our personnel or whatever it is. And, you know, it's important to remember that the person that you're going to talk to, your client, is also in business to make profits, so they will have done the same. So the best way to handle that is exactly that, think win-win, and to say, okay, unfortunately, you know, we've soaked up a lot of increases in our raw materials and our service prices, etc., etc. But now there is a need to raise our price. It's not that we need to make more profit from you. I'm being very upfront with you. And so our new prices will be, and then you discuss it.
John, are you willing to take on one more question here? I think we have some time.
Yes, of course I am.
Great. It says, if you provide a discount that has an expiration, how do you handle the negotiation if the customer comes back after that expiration date and asks for the same deal? Are you willing to concede once? Was that what is the response?
Well, yeah, there's no standard response to that question. The answer is very, very simply, you have to determine how valuable that deal is to you. We've all extended timelines and time deadlines on discounts in order to win a particular order. But, my advice on that is twofold. First of all, be very, very clear in your opening proposal exactly what those deadlines are. And before the deadline, say 7 days or even 14 days before the deadline runs out, send an email or a note or give them a call and say, okay, where are we with this proposal that we put in for you, or our quotation? I did want to remind you that the discount level that we've quoted runs out in 7 days, 14 days, 30 days' time. I did want you to be aware of that, all right? Because when you do that, you're preparing them. Secondly, if in the event you decide that you are going to allow that discount extension and you're going to accept their business 2 weeks, 2 months, or whatever it is, after the expiration of the proposal, make sure you get something back. Okay? Barter. Yes, okay, well, look, I am prepared to allow the original price that I quoted. I'm prepared to give that discount, but in return, what I'd like you to do is either increase the order or extend the warranty period or extend the maintenance contract or do something. Don't just cave in, because if you do that, all the future orders in the future, I promise you, will all come in late and they'll take advantage of you. They'll walk all over you. That is not win-win. That actually is lose-win.
Okay, I think we have our last question here. What is the optimal strategy and tactics when one party has a significantly more leverage in the negotiation? Example, David versus Goliath.
Well, it depends whether you're talking from the seller's point of view or the buyer's point of view, but that's not unusual. I mean, it's like, to give you a comparison, it's like a very small company going into bid for BP or Shell's business. I mean, we've all been there. Small doesn't necessarily mean, big doesn't mean beautiful, and small doesn't mean insignificant. The size of the company really should never, ever change the way that we think about our chances of winning any particular piece of business, providing that you can offer something different, providing, you can prove unique selling points. A lot of major corporates these days are actually very happy to deal with smaller companies because they will be big fishes in that company's small pond, and they like the additional personal service. So, what's important is that if you're prepared to entertain the business in the first place and you've qualified it out, then logically you've decided that the business is winnable in the first place. If you don't think it's winnable, then the question is, what are you doing in the negotiating room anyway? You shouldn't be there. If you have that, insecurity feeling, or if you don't think you're going to win it. If you think you're going to win it, be brave, because they might be big and you might be small, but you've got your strengths, and you know the story of David and Goliath. Certainly, David wasn't frightened, and he ended up the victor. So think along those principles. It's important.
Super. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan. I think that wraps it up. We just hit 45 minutes. So I just want to let everyone know that we will finish up this afternoon by sending along a follow-up email with a link to the presentation and the information about your ebook. So if you have any last words.
Well, it's very kind. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you to all of you that have joined. Hope you enjoyed it. And I also hope you enjoy the ebook. It's really a selection of articles that I've written about negotiation, and we put it together to create that ebook. Do stay in touch. I gave you earlier on of the sites where you can reach me. Somebody saying thank you and cheerio. Thank you and cheerio too. Of course, the JF Corporation, Top Sales World, and Jonathan Farrington, JF Consultancy. Now, rather than take down loads and loads of email addresses, don't bother doing that. If you haven't got a moment to take those down, simply Google me. My SEO dwarfs and elves that are in charge of that end of our business tell me. These days you can, of course, Google Jonathan Farrington, or you can Google Jonathan or Farrington or JF or the JF Consultant. You have a big choice. So they've done a great job. I've enjoyed it very much, and I very much hope to be working with you again, Melissa.
Yes.
And SalesCrunch.
Thank you, Jonathan. It was a pleasure. Have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.
SalesCrunch. Learn more, earn more.